Well, I think the majority is here. If we want to go ahead and get started. So thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon for our Education Committee, VMNH Education Committee meeting. So virtually. And like you were saying, I think everyone's getting very familiar with Zoom and just all of the technicalities and everything. So yay. So thank you for joining us. I hope everyone received the agenda and the meeting minutes from our prior meeting. Awesome. Thank you, Cord. Did anyone have any comments or questions about the meeting minutes? Pretty straightforward from what we had discussed, the agenda. Awesome. All right. Well, just to kind of get things started and move along the agenda, I wanted to take a minute to update everyone. We usually spend some time talking about the quarterly numbers. This is going to go really fast this time. The second page obviously has the numbers for the quarter, which would include April, May, and June. You know, with everything going on with COVID, our programming has kind of screeched to a halt. The numbers that you do see for the June, at the museum, reflect the reptile drive-through event that we held, which was a lot of fun. That one was our first drive-through event. So we had about 101 people attend that. So that for the quarter, those are our numbers. I'll talk a little bit more about upcoming numbers in a minute, but Ryan, since we're talking about the drive-through, anything you want to add with that?
I'll just add that, like Christy said, I think people really appreciated it.
Yeah.
And the feedback we got, I was kind of at the last booth where I asked people for money, tried to make eye contact without being awkward, but people were overwhelmingly thankful for us doing that. Really appreciated it. And same thing with the Dino Festival that we just had. People appreciated it very much. So I'd say it was not huge numbers, obviously, compared to a regular festival, but people were very appreciative.
Yes, it was really nice just being able to offer those and connect with the public. And we had individuals that were coming through, driving through that had not been to the museum before. So I thought that was really nice. They were very complimentary of the drive-through experience. So a lot of fun. And like Ryan mentioned, we had the Dino drive-through event just recently, and looking at some other drive-through events in the future. So I think that's a nice thing to offer right now.
Did we have to cancel that early? The drive-through?
The Dino, we met capacity very quickly in the parking lot.
So.
Yes. So I think we put out a notice on Facebook and kind of said that we were having to stop the admission of vehicles. Faye, yes.
Yeah, Christy, I'm sure Joe or Ryan have mentioned to you that, we're thinking about doing a similar thing in Waynesboro. And I'm assuming you're in on that.
Yes.
Planning for that, but I think it's a great idea, and I'm sure you all have some lessons learned that you could advise us on, and how to make that as available as we possibly can in terms of access. And but yeah, I think that's going to be a fun thing, and hopefully that'll be this fall, right, Joe? Hopefully.
Joe, you're muted.
Mute on.
All right. So yeah, we're shooting for October. And I'm working with Greg to pick a date that will not be interfering with other events, but might complement other things going on. and the way to, we hope, overcome the trouble with capacity. First of all, the DuPont parking lot is much bigger than our parking lot, but we're working with the idea right now of selling timed tickets, or at least issuing timed tickets. We're kind of debating back and forth whether to sell the tickets, because we got just about as much in donations that if we did charge something like $5 a car. So, and it's greatly simplified when it's not sold in there, and it's a free event. But we do want to issue out like time slots. So like you can come between the hour of say 3 and 4 or something like that, so that way we don't have everyone showing up at the same time.
Explain the capacity. Why? What is the capacity that's out when it's outside? Even what? How? Explain that capacity to me.
I can chime in. So basically, we timed it out, and about every 3 minutes, a car left the experience. So different. We had about 8 or 10 booths,
Yes.
And so each booth maybe varied a little bit on how much time they spent with the visitor, but it averaged out to about every 3 minutes of a car left the parking lot.
Was this the state that required a capacity number? I'm wondering how you.
No,
what you all determined as the capacity and how that was determined, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Yeah, basically we did the math, and we knew how fast we were getting people through, and we knew that with the number of people we had currently in line, that it would take us roughly 2.5 hours to get them through. So if we kept accepting people in line, then it would push it.
It wasn't like you could only have 150 people.
No, it was just a matter.
Okay, it was timing. Okay.
Yeah.
Literally, Joan, there was, we had the traffic snaking through the parking lot in the way that we calculated would allow the maximum number of cars in the parking lot at one time. And we got to a point where we started to block traffic on Starling Avenue because people couldn't get in. And so
I understand. Okay.
we're making a hazard of ourselves.
I just wondered if somebody had said you could only have so many people there. Okay.
No.
Just that 4 people in a car take up a lot more room than 4 people on foot. That's just what it boils down to.
And basically the last car in line, the last car that we served at 8:15 arrived in the parking lot at 6 o'clock. So that's just the way it is.
So did you all charge for the tickets, or was that you just did the donations at the end, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that, just for ease, but also I think in Waynesboro, since we're trying to inform people and get people engaged in the new campus, that it probably would be better not to charge that, and certainly hope for donations and come out with something. But I think it's going to be a really important PR event.
Yes, I think I think if it was the positivity that we had in Martinsville, I think it's only going to grow in the Waynesboro area. I think everyone really enjoyed it, and even those, like Ryan said, even though those that waited in the line were still so complimentary and just very appreciative that we were offering something. And we had a lot of cool stuff out there, and it even rained, and we worked with that. And so I think everybody, worked really well, kind of shuffling and figuring everything out logistically at that point. So, I think it was a lot of things that the staff took in and kind of learned from, and kind of can, only improve upon.
We also,
So, looking forward to that.
We also discussed the idea of can we have an outdoor only event on foot? We could use remote parking and spread the events out, or not the events, but spread the experiences out throughout the parking lot. But we just decided against it. I mean, we know from experience that people end up packing together, and we just didn't want to be a mob scene when people are supposed to be distancing. And there's also, I forget, are we still on some kind of restriction in terms of how many people can be at a single event?
Yes.
That's what I was wondering about.
I think we're at the 200 mark. I could be wrong, but I think it's 200 at any single event in Virginia right now. And I know at one point he was thinking about going back down.
Yeah.
But we went from 50 to a little bit. Now I think we're at 200 per event.
But that's all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes, like
Yeah.
yeah, in one area. But
Yeah.
I think they would consider the entire grounds of the museum an area. So you could have 100 inside and 100 outside at booth, and they would still consider that 200, and
200.
would be maxed out. So,
Yeah.
and they're
That's good
actually
to
sending
note.
people out to check that, because we've had a call or two at the Y to where they have to maintain 10 feet apart in a gym, and then you still can't have but so many to capacity. And we were called in and said we had a boatload of people, and we're like, we've got like 9 people in the area right now.
Yeah.
And they came and checked it out, but they're still watching it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so we're looking forward to some more, drive-through events and and things. And the numbers will actually be reflected on the next quarter, but I worked with Danville's Institute for Advanced Learning and Research. They were doing some pop-up events and wanted to partner with us. So we actually did a pop-up educational activity in the parking lot in July. And that was really nice. Had a handful of people come up for that. Of course, we were masked, and a lot of the visitors that came up were masked, and had just some educational activities and some giveaways. And so I've told them, we can, partner with some more things like that, and trying to just kind of offer things up to the public as we can. We've made a lot of adjustments. Obviously with our programs, our outreach I'd put on the agenda, our outreach was pretty much everything's canceled because of, the situation. Our distance learning programs though are still an option. And I had mentioned during our last committee meeting that we were working on a program with a assisted facility in Northern Virginia. So we completed the program, recorded that, sent that off to them. They were very appreciative, complimentary. And so we are going to be putting that out to the network of assisted living facilities, retirement communities as an option with distance learning. So my goal is the end of the month into early September, once schools are also back, we typically will send out our education guide to education guide as well as the distance learning guide to superintendents, principals, the science coordinators, community partners that we've typically done programming with. And so we are still going to do that, obviously with a virtual push, advertising the distance learning capabilities and virtual programming such as the assisted living facility. So they'll kind of be an audience that we advertise to as well. So yes, ma'am. Oh, sorry, Faye, I can't hear you.
Now,
So
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you turn up your volume, Faye? I'm having trouble hearing you.
Our
That's better.
phone's not very good. I'll just hold this up close to my face. I was just curious about what your local school systems are doing. Are they opening? Are they doing a couple days on?
No.
They're not opening. In person.
The original plan for Martinsville and Henry County was going to be a 2-day in and 3-day
Right.
virtual, but they've now converted to all virtual. So Martinsville and Henry County actually started this week. So it's been a lot of fun working with Canvas this week with my son, trying to get everything straight. But so that's also, I wanted to wait a little while so that school districts are not as crazy with everything starting off to then advertise our distance learning material. Because even though, they're still remote, we can do some options with them. And that's why, I mentioned the assisted living facilities too, as a population that we can target. Yes, Cord.
So on the distance learning with the schools and virtual, something that we could look at, maybe you or Ryan one could check into this. The schools received a huge amount of CARES Act money. Our school system just came off today with a stipend of, I've got it wrote down here, $300,000 to help with programming and childcare throughout the city. And that's just our city right now. But like assisted facility homes, all day childcare providers, they're all getting checks for CARES Act to help with this kind of programming. So that might be an issue to where we could do some stuff and get some money through the CARES Act, and it doesn't come out of any one provider's pocket.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. And with the virtual programming, the way we did it with the assisted living facility, just at the time frame, we recorded the program and then sent it to them. And so that was something, that we can offer as a recording or a live connection, depending on, how they want to work that, and depending on just what the situation is. And with our local schools, I've actually had a couple of teachers reach out about projects that they're working on in the fall. And even though they are virtual, they are wanting to kind of partner with us on some information and just kind of having us as a resource. And so that's also kind of, why I want to make sure that we're still reaching out, even though we can't do our typical outreach programming, still want to reach out to them and let them know that, whether it's our virtual connections or just the museum as a resource, that we are still there for them.
I don't know if you saw in the newspaper from the city schools, 40% of our kids are not able to do distance learning because their internet is not working or issues with that. So give it a little time, because that is an equity issue right there. If some people can get it and some people can't.
Exactly. I know. I did read that article.
There was a thing in the Register B about the school system was thinking about buying time on TV, because almost everybody's got a TV. So it'd be like one of our local stations, and they would run the stuff. You would just watch TV and get it all right there and be able to get it. And I don't know how they would record it or anything, maybe DVR it or something, but at least that way they have access to it. So
yeah, I know. I think, it's an unusual time to try to work with programming, but I think there's a lot of possibilities out there. And what we've been doing this summer is, on the agenda under the impacts and the updates, I've mentioned the modifications with our existing programs. So what we've been doing is looking at those outreach programs, the distance learning, and just recently our homeschool science and engineering academy, and how we can still offer these programs virtually, some sort of hybrid. So just this week, I offered a Zoom virtual open house for our homeschool audience. We conducted that on Wednesday. And so we had a lot of interest in how our homeschool programs were going to work. Over the years, we've built up a very robust program for the homeschool audiences. And so we advertised this virtual open house. Typically, we have the open house at the museum in the Hall of Ancient Life, and cover kind of what we're doing, and they can tour the museum if they're new to the museum, and just really get into the details of the program. But we decided to still offer an open house this year, just virtually. And so we talked about all of the details of converting our curriculum, and instead of having the in-person sessions, we're going to conduct them through Zoom, trying to keep some of the normalcy of the programming. So we're keeping our sessions on the first and third Wednesday of every month. We are still keeping our sessions separate for the age groups. So that's basically going to be just separate Zoom connection times. So for example, our 6 to 8 year olds, our connection time program would be from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And then we'll have a little bit of a break. And then the 9 to 11 year olds would be 10:15 to 11:15, a little bit of a break. And then our 12 and up would connect from 11:30 to 12:30. And we really wanted to keep those ages separate so that we can make sure that the curriculum that we're covering, the material, is still as age appropriate as we can. You know, we've had some questions of, are we just going to do one connection and everybody kind of together? And so we've talked about doing some just kind of general public programming. But as far as the Homeschool Academy, we really wanted to keep it separate so that we could make sure that we're covering the age appropriate information. So we had a lot of interest in that, and we already have requests to sign up for those, because our first one will be about 3 weeks from now. So that's right, I know, that's right around the corner. So really looking forward to delving into that. And so of course, myself and working with the two educators, we've been looking at how we can provide the most engaging virtual programming that we can. So we're looking forward to jumping into that. I'm also still looking at the possibility of our other programming, such as our Doodlebugs, which is the younger audience, of doing things virtually with that audience as well. I also had mentioned during our last committee meeting our kits that we were creating. And so I have on the agenda too, just under the impacts and updates. So our summer discovery kits, as they are called right now, are on the website, and we've had some great results of that and public purchasing. And so that's been a nice little chunk of revenue coming in. And what we're wanting to do is kind of drop the word summer and just keep discovery kits throughout the year. And then that way we can add more topics, promote them, and have these available to the public throughout the year. And they are small kits that are individual activities, such as a dissecting owl pellets, or creating a fossil mold and cast. So individual activities. So each kit is just one. And we've had some families that have ordered all of the kits. So that was, that was nice to see the popularity of those. Let's see, I also put on the agenda just to mention some of the other things that the education department has been doing during this kind of unusual time is, of course, utilizing our web appearance and social media. And so we've put educational resources on the website. We've been using Facebook for various posts, whether it was feeding the animals or experiments. And Terry and Kayla have recently been working on museum minutes, which are short clips of various specimens throughout the museum. So just highlighting one thing just for 60 seconds. as kind of a teaser for them. So they've been doing a lot of recording at the museum. So they're getting very familiar with recording videos and just kind of the technicalities of that. But does anybody have any questions about the programming or any of the things that I had just mentioned before I move on? Yes.
Backing up to what Joan said about the 40% of
Mhm.
kids that don't have the appropriate technological capability at their home for distance learning. Let's start thinking of what a scenario might look like if we partnered with the other area museums and we host those kids and give them access in a spaced fashion, to these same resources.
They have the instrument, they have the iPads or the Chromebooks. They just don't have the internet.
As far as I know,
The connections.
the three
The
main,
hotspot.
main museums here, us, the Historical Society and Historic Courthouse, and Piedmont Arts all have public wireless.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if the city is doing this. Joan, you might be able to answer this, but the county has it set up so that there's some basically Wi-Fi areas that you could go to the parking lot or whatever and connect and do work. But
A lot of the fire departments in the county
Mhm.
are setting up areas where you can come and use throughout the day for the kids to come and use. So that might be other options. Local community centers, stuff like that.
And we need to think this through, about all the logistics.
Mhm.
The issue, as I understand it, is that if you are an individual parent, you've got to drive to those locations
Yeah.
and basically they take the lesson. So you can't go to work or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying people can come here and dump their kids off for 6 hours, right? There's got to be more than that, but we'll explore
Yeah.
what that might look like. I don't think we'll make a lot of headway. At least I can't, because I have one more committee meeting after this, so we won't have anything for tomorrow's board meeting. But
Yeah.
I think it's something that internally we can talk amongst ourselves to see if we can
And
dream up.
coordinate with the schools,
That's-
to make
yeah.
sure you know what they're doing. And that might just have been a first week problem and it'll straighten itself out. I don't know.
Mhm.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely speak to the working out all of the kinks, so to say.
And some of
with
it is the
everything.
parents don't know what to do either.
Yeah.
They don't know. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's been an interesting week, but it's good. It's good. Just some other things that I wanted to mention during our committee meeting, things that are kind of continuing throughout the year. I'm still serving on the VRUEC, which is the Virginia Resource Use Education Council. And that is a group of state and federal organizations. So like Department of Forestry, Department of Education, groups like that, the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. So it's across the state. So we've still been coming together virtually. And so we've been working on kind of putting together everyone's organization's resources for teachers, so that can be put on the DOE website or Department of Ed website, as well as the council's organization sites. So we're just trying to, put out the resources that are available and kind of provide anything, for the teachers, lesson plans and just, content. So that's been nice. The education department participated in a professional development opportunity last month. The three of us participated virtually in a education collaborative with Smithsonian. And so that was a really nice opportunity just to connect with others. There were formal as well as informal educators with this PD opportunity, and just talking about how COVID has impacted their school, their organization, their programming, and kind of everybody having that chance to get together and talk about not only how it's impacted, but what they're doing to move forward. So that was a really nice opportunity for the three of us to just jump in, see what the others are doing, but just kind of talk about what we're envisioning and kind of bounce ideas back and forth. So it was a really good workshop. It was 3 days, all virtual, very nice. And then we have another one coming up, the Virginia Association of Science Teachers is going to be in November. And so the three of us will be, and that one is virtual as well. So we will be attending that. And so something that I've started working on with our curators is how the museum can offer teacher professional development resources. So working with the curators on some existing material and looking at creating some new videos and things like that, so that we could put out some opportunities for them to use the material as recertification credits. So we're working on that right now with the hope of having content definitely spring, but obviously working on it now with the hopes of, you know, having it done sooner than that. But so more to come on that. Let's see. Oh, I briefly mentioned, I put on the agenda the fall project. And actually, since I've created this agenda, I've had another teacher that reached out about just kind of the museum as a resource. So even though, you know, it's virtual and things are a little different, still being able to connect with them and making sure that we can help in whatever way. So I'll definitely update everyone on the progress of those. Also wanted to update everyone on exhibit components for our exhibit subcommittee that's part of our education committee. So our exhibits team has been working very hard to make the modifications in the exhibit areas and taking out the hands-on components and adding some really nice visuals. As you enter the museum, there's some really nice images that are like vinyl stickers, I guess you would call them. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but on the floor. And so it's set up as specimens or icons that you're going to find throughout the museum. So as soon as you come in, it's can you find this as you're visiting the museum? So a nice add-on, you know, having to take out some of the hands-on components, but trying to make sure that we're adding things too that can still be done. Also, a very nice trout tank is going in as we speak. They've been working on that for a while, and it will house the trout for our Wild Watershed exhibit. So that's definitely a work in progress and nearing completion. I'm not sure. So we will receive the eggs first, not the actual trout, correct? Yeah.
Tom's not allowed to fish in there, right?
I know. Which in that, you know, having the trout eggs and part of the trout in the classroom, you know, just having that for visitors to see and watch the growth and the change is a lot of fun. Speaking of just watching those, so the exhibits are open Friday through Sunday right now. So we're only open to the public Friday and Saturday 9 to 5, and then Sunday 1 to 5. I put on here a couple of the other exhibits that are still a work in progress, the butterfly exhibit as well as the flight. The butterfly exhibit will be in the hallway going to the Walker Lecture Hall. And then the flight exhibit will take the place, it'll be in the special exhibits gallery where the cat exhibit is right now. And so that one is slated for around April of next year. So yeah, so still, you know, a lot of things going on. And Ryan, anything that you want to mention?
I don't think it was mentioned earlier. We just received notice of a grant that we, $20,000 grant from the Patterson Foundation. And that is going to be specifically for virtual programming for the coming year. So we were originally in talks with them to do school group scholarships, and obviously everything changed with that. So we kind of reached out last minute to the foundation folks and talked about what we could do. And so they're very excited about it. We are as well, of course. And so that'll be for a variety of virtual programming through the curators, through Christy's department. So very exciting. And part of that will be for the marketing that goes with that. Obviously, we want to get the word out to audiences.
One of the virtual resources we're working on right now, we did purchase some new technology to help us create a series of 3-dimensional museum tours that you can run from your own computer. So a kid could do this in a classroom, from their own home, or just an enthusiast who wants to have a museum experience. They can go through, and they're not going to get everything, of course, right? But they're going to be certain features, exhibits, and artifacts that'll be highlighted to tell a story. So basically the 5 different icons you can click on the website will be 5 identical tours in terms of the building and the exhibits, but what is highlighted in each one of those tours, they will parallel 5 Virginia Science SOLs. So Christy and I are working on that right now. And we've got it's a former intern from high school who just came and said he could do this for us. So he's been working hard on it. He's at the point in his life where he's deferred going to graduate school because of the virus and deciding to do something to build up his resume. So I don't have a timeline on that, but hopefully it's something that Christy can use. I don't know the particulars, the technological particulars, how to implement that with a classroom, but it's certainly something that somebody can engage with from their device, their phone, their laptop, whatever. So
Yes.
new initiative there.
Yep. Yeah, so that's going to be fun working on that. And so like he mentioned, we've been looking at some of the specimens, identifying SOLs, and what I was doing was looking at more of strands, SOL strands, information that we can focus on, and then highlight the specimens within that strand. So, you know, the life sciences and, you know, scientific processes and things like that. So kind of broad focus, but then narrow it down on the actual specimens and the information that would be conveyed with that specimen at that point, and adaptations and things like that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Well, great. Those were just a few of the things happening right now that I wanted to update everyone on. So a lot of exciting virtual opportunities coming up, and yeah, so I'm excited to kickstart this. And you know, I've told the educators that, you know, even though this is going to be different, you know, because they both have been with the museum about 2 years now, so still new, fairly new, but I've, you know, told them it's a very exciting time to be able to look at the new ways that we can still meet our mission and convey the important educational information just in a different format. So they're they have been coming up with a lot of great ideas for example, like the homeschool academies and things that we can do during the Zoom sessions. So yes, a lot of fun. Yes.
I just appreciate you and your team's efforts to, continue producing during these challenging times. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to have a new normal.
Yes.
Clearly.
Yes.
And so I think the positive about where we are now is that you all are creating this new programming that's, will move us into the future and expand really the outreach opportunities. So I just commend you and Joe and everyone for all the great work you're continuing to do.
I agree. Very good.
I definitely second that, because I think one of the things that this has done for us is this just puts us ahead of everybody else. We've just had to start it a little sooner. And, I saw a meme with a teacher the other day that said this could be the worst school year ever. And somebody replied back, yeah, but it could be also the best school year ever. We just don't know. Everything is what we make of it. So
that's right. That's right.
I think everything y'all are doing there, jumping ahead of everything and being there, it just puts us on the right track. We're just doing it a little earlier than what we wanted to do it. So
exactly. And, we've been offering distance learning programs for years, so it's kind of just altering some of the things that, we're used to doing, but creating those new opportunities too. So yeah, it's a new time, and like you said, it's going to be kind of the new normal. And just looking at how we can make the best of it and come up with some fun, engaging, really creative ways of getting the information out to kids, teachers, general public, whomever. So, yep, we're going to just keep pushing forward.
Educators are very good at that. They are flexible and
exactly
thinking on a whim. So I just hope people appreciate teachers more as a result of this.
Yes. Flexibility, most definitely.
So tomorrow's a trustee meeting. Do you take what we've talked about at this meeting to that meeting, or what happens next?
Yes. So at tomorrow's meeting, we will have an opportunity for the committees to discuss what was covered. So CORD will cover what kind of encapsulate everything that we've discussed, and just give some talking points from our committee meeting.
I butcher it the way I say it. It can be. It's so much better when Christy does it. I mean, I just butcher it. I'm taking notes here, and then I get there and I'm like, well, "We did good." It does it so much better. So.
Ward, you're one of the more enthusiastic reporters.
I try to be, because some of them get up there and you're like, "Well, we did this yesterday."
You go for it, Cord.
That's right. I really just want to see us succeed, and as long as we're doing the best we can and we're putting it out there, I really think we will. We're already in a position, and I think with COVID, there's more grants coming down and stuff. I believe that more places are going to have opportunities to use our distance learning, because now these grants coming out, they're going to be able to afford it and not going to have to worry about budgets and this and that. So this is a chance for us to really show what we've got, what we can do, and really teach some of these children. So I really think this is a good opportunity for us.
Mm-hmm.
So the museum, the education department has been doing distance learning for a while. Schools have not.
Yes.
So you're a little bit ahead of the curve
Right.
there. And so that's a positive thing.
Well,
Yeah.
I know our while we went through and added cameras to all of our big screen TVs.
Nice.
And we've got everything hooked up now to where we can throw in a computer at any time or whatever, so we can do Zoom meetings or whatever on an 85-inch TV, and we've added hotspots and stuff. So we're rolling just as normal with our program. So this is stuff that's going to be coming up. I know we start on the 24th, our school system does. And we're getting more people from the county wanting to sign up. Because like y'all were saying earlier, Pittsylvania County, the numbers came out, and only 30% actually have access to internet. The county has more money, the families have more money, they've got the equipment, but they don't have the access to the internet. The city was the exact opposite. 70% of the city has access to internet, and they already have the equipment, as opposed to 30% in the county. So it's the exact opposite. The city's got the internet, and they've got but they don't have the equipment. The county has the equipment, but they don't have the access. But
I'm hearing that the kids are trying to use their phones because everybody's got a phone, but you can only do so much on a phone.
On a mobile version.
Computer. Yes, that's just it limits. So I know they're working on that though.
Exactly.
The gentleman in charge of IT for the Danville City Schools ordered $2.7 million worth of computer equipment back in March when this first happened. And they thought there were going to be some lag. So when he was talking to the company out of China, they told him it was probably going to be a 6-month wait. He went ahead and ordered all of them. And from what I understand, they got 3,400 Chromebooks. And they came in like 2 weeks ago. So he's already had another order in, but they just got here. And so everybody else is kind of like, now they're backed up and they don't have the equipment. But Danville, for whatever reason, this guy went ahead and bought it all, and it just got here.
That's good. That's good. Prepared.
Yep.
Well,
awesome.
You tell the board that we are very happy with what the museum is doing with distance learning. And
that's the first thing I'm going to say now. I'm writing this in big letters. Very happy.
Oh, well, great. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. It was really good to see everybody. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
See y'all in the morning.
Yes, I thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Bye, guys.
All right, bye.